Welcome to Tsunami. Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Tsunami. I'm Tsunami and joining me for this very special Season 2 episode of Streamer Spotlight is my very good friend Zuzuchi. Zuzuchi, welcome to the show.
Hi, Satsu. How are you today? Genki desu, genki desu.
I am very good, thanks. How are you doing?
Well, it is morning where I am, and I'm just excited to be here and hang out with you and spend some time and get to know you better. And hi.
I know, we've always said to one another that, we're going to do a collab together, we're going to do something, but obviously because of time difference, that's like very difficult. So, yeah, it's a pleasure having you on the show today. Yeah, do you want to introduce yourself to the lovely listeners at home?
Okay, so hi minasan, my name is Suzuchi or Suzu, and I am a streamer on YouTube right now playing Pokemon Shining Pearl, but I did used to start streaming on Twitch and on Facebook, so I guess that makes me a streamer platform hopper.
Oh, yeah.
But yes, I am a VTuber and I've always wanted to be an anime girl, so I was happy to be able to start streaming as a VTuber with a group of friends in this little group called Berry Grove Entertainment. Hi.
I have to admit, it is a pretty awesome group. I have dropped in a couple of times. Like, I think when we first met, I can't actually remember if it was through them we met, or do you remember, like, the first stream you and I bumped into one another?
I think the first stream that we bumped into each other was when I was streaming on Twitch. And at that time, I think I was streaming, it was either Sims 4 or Getting Over It. And then I think we were talking in Mandarin for a little bit. And then, like, our wanting to be Mandarin souls resonated with each other. And we just started talking in Mandarin, and the
Yeah.
rest was history, I think.
Yeah. I mean, in fact, no, you know, but the people probably listening at home don't know how much of a nerd I am when it comes to language learning. Like, especially right now, my two main languages are Spanish and Mandarin Chinese. I absolutely love both of them. Well, a love-hate relationship, but whenever I meet someone else, like on Twitch or anyone online who's like got the same kind of love of languages, I'm like a magnet. I just completely gravitate towards them and I'm like, ni hao. Yeah, you also learn Mandarin. Oh, honestly, like, I think that was probably it. I was just like, yes, this person's awesome. I will stay here and watch your content. Very good.
No, like I mean, I found it so interesting. So your name, right? It's Satsunami, and then you were writing Chinese characters in chat, and then so in my head I was like, maybe this is an Asian living in Europe or just somewhere or like somewhere in abroad. And then I finally dropped by your stream one day, and then I heard your Scottish voice. I'm like, this is so amazing.
Yeah.
This mixture is so amazing.
Yeah. Oh, no, absolutely. Although I'll give you a laugh for that because I had a similar experience when I started out streaming. My friend Green Shield and I, we decided to do like a couple of co-streams. And during one of our Pokemon Emerald co-streams, this guy from China, or well, we thought he was from China, but he just kind of lived there, a Twitch streamer as well called Naf Gains. So Naf, if you listen to this, big shout out. I remember he said like how he lived in China and everything. Like I started speaking a little bit of Chinese. It's like, oh yeah, your Chinese is legitimate. And I was like, yes. So I decided to jump on his stream because I was like, oh, I'm really excited. I can't wait to, talk to this person from China. He was, he's British. He definitely wasn't Chinese. Yeah, so when I hopped on, I was like, okay. This is interesting. Like, did not expect it, but like, oh no, he's an awesome guy though. Awesome streamer, awesome guy. But yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. Because that's the thing though with streaming, isn't it? When you get people in the chat and they're saying I'm from here or there, and they're talking about like different things, you think, you kind of build like an image of them, don't you? You kind of think, oh yeah, no, they are so-and-so. And like you said with me, as I said, I go on about like languages all the time, so you would never expect me to suddenly turn around and produce this voice.
Because for me, what I do whenever I know that there's like, or I think there's somebody who like knows how to speak in Mandarin, I look for a few things, right? So one of them is when their name is actually in Mandarin character.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And then so I try to prove my Mandarin knowledge worth by actually trying to read their characters. And it's so funny. It's like I think that I know the character and then I just say it all wrong, and at some point I'm like, you know what? I don't know what your character name is. Please tell me, but I will tell you ni hao or xie xie ni or whatever. But definitely it's different when I think the interesting about languages is like it helps you connect with people and it helps you try to be able to get a little bit closer to them because of this wall of the internet that like separates you.
Oh no, absolutely. Like it is one thing kind of like trying to chat in someone else's like secondary language, but if you try to speak to people in their native language, it's amazing how you can, meet so many amazing people. And especially like for Twitch as well. Because I have to admit, like you saying that you try to like figure out the pinyin from the characters, because honest to God, sometimes whenever I go on to like Twitch and I think, okay, today's the day I'm going to be brave enough, and today I'm going to either speak Spanish or I'm going to speak Chinese, and you know what? This is going to be the day. And then I just panic and I'm like, I turn full baby mode and I'm just like, ni hao. And they're like, they speak very fast and fluent, because that actually happened to me when, I can't remember who it was, but there was this South American streamer that invited me to his stream. I said like, oh, does anyone use Twitch for language learning? And this guy was like, oh, I speak in Spanish, so you can drop by my stream. So I was like, oh, great. I spoke a little bit of Spanish, and then he just like, it was like an unstoppable train. But it was just like, yeah, no. And I was like, yeah, no, I understand nothing of what you're saying.
It's like I accept.
Yeah, I was just like, yeah, you know what? Just I trust what you're saying. Fair enough.
No, okay. I believe, Satru, that I have found a foolproof way to be able to still have streams where you focus on different languages and it's okay for you to fail. So I actually tried. It's okay for you to not know what you're saying. I have tried Duolingo streaming, like learning. I tried learning how to speak in Spanish, but it was a app, an actual. It wasn't Duolingo, and like they had math in Spanish and Espanol, and I was like, why am I doing this to myself? Why? And I was just gonna say why or what in Spanish, but my brain, I just forgot it. So but like I also in Duolingo for learning Nihongo. So I tried it for a while because so as a VTuber, I think a lot of the things that's because of companies like Hololive or Vishojo, like I think it's at a certain expectation of what people want to see in a VTuber. So because it's more of an anime kind of thing, I think that people do want to see someone who kind of knows Japanese, like a little bit here and there, to have that nostalgic feeling of anime. And so like it was something that I felt like should be learned. So I guess that was what convinced me to try to do learning how to speak in Japanese.
That honestly is still awesome, though, that you are pursuing Japanese. Because let me tell you, it is horrific in some regards. In the sense that, you've got three separate alphabets for one.
Mhm.
You've got your katakana, hiragana, and
Mhm.
kanji.
Mhm.
Like, if you learn Chinese, it's like you recognize the kanji, but you
Mm.
don't know how it sounds. And that is the
Mm.
worst. The word for water, for example, is shui in Mandarin. And you think, okay, I can just go to Japan and say that. And it's like, no, you can't, because that's not how you say water in Japanese. You're like, oh, okay, this is bad.
Damn it. Oh,
Yeah,
shucks.
damn.
No, but
Exactly.
I will tell you that when Suzuchi went to Tokyo, right? So I went with my cousin at that time, and we were this weird tandem because she knew how to speak, but I knew how to read because of Mandarin. So whenever we would like go, I was like, I know this means bathroom. This means we're going here. This means we're going there. I think you may not know how to speak it yet, But like, if long as you know how to read it, you won't get lost in Tokyo. Go Satsu!
To be fair, that is a good life hack. It's like learn how to read Mandarin and then you can get around Tokyo, you know. Like who needs the other alphabets? Just go with your kanji, you know. What's the worst that could happen? Spoilers probably everything, but I do not advocate for that. But anyway.
Kills two birds with one stone. Learn Mandarin, be able to survive in Japan. Dun dun.
I feel like there was like a missing step in that plan. Like, you know, there was definitely a step in between, and someone's like, learn Mandarin, go to Japan. Yeah, sure. That nothing is gonna go wrong here. No, nothing's gonna.
It is a true moral of story.
Exactly, exactly. I'm quite curious before we move on to, getting your worldly wisdom, as it were, because you have been streaming for quite a while, haven't you?
I've been streaming as a VTuber since January of 2021.
Is
Yes.
it that early? Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I thought it was longer than that. My goodness.
I think I tried here and there, like to test it, probably in like December 2020, and I think that's when we met. But like the time that I really tried to do it dedicatedly with my VTuber group was in January. Hi hi.
Ah, okay. No, because I'm sure, were you the same as me in the sense that you didn't show your face on stream? You were like a no face streamer. That sounds terrible, by the way. Sorry. It's like, yeah, I'm sure that's a category, a no face streamer. But was that the case for you?
Yes, it was. So at first, I would just be playing games online, and then I started to see some people being VTuber, and I was like, "What is this thing?" It's like I feel like it's always been my dream to be a real anime girl too, and that kind of like triggered it.
I mean, yeah, go for it. If you can do it, yeah, live your dreams. Like, no one can stop you being an anime girl. I mean, that's what I say to myself every day. I mean, well, I have to admit, yours is a lot more. How to put this? Like, yours makes a lot more sense than the route I chose. So, for anyone who doesn't know, of course, you'll all know that the mascot of this channel is a red panda. I mean, technically, I went the same route as you in the sense that I used a. It was Vroid, wasn't it, that you used?
For me, I've always wanted to be an anime girl. It was my dream since I was a little girl. So, because I really love anime. I grew up watching Naruto, and they made the remake of Shaman King, and they've continued stuff like Inuyasha. So, like growing up and watching those things, it like really made me kind of wanna become a different version. And it was interesting how VTubing allows you to express yourself, and you were able to like redesign what you wanted to do, how you wanted to look and whatnot, and you could also like express yourself more. So I think that was one of the bigger reasons why I wanted to do it. And then of course, since the pandemic hit, so one of Suzuchi's promises to herself is every year I would travel somewhere, but like for 2 years because of the pandemic, I couldn't go anywhere. So I was like, you know what? I will live vicariously through my VTuber self while I am unable to see the world. I will see the world and people through VTuber as an anime girl. So killing two birds with one stone. Hi, hi, hi,
Exactly.
hi.
It's like it always reminds me of, see, when you see those pictures online of people who say they've been like to Rome or like at all of these places, but they've like poorly photoshopped themselves to the picture. Yeah, yeah, I was totally there. It's like, Satsu, why are you a red panda? It's like, oh well, oops. I forgot to trade it with my normal self. But I know what you mean. Do you find it easier to do VTubing compared to what you were doing before without the model? Because I know what you mean, like when you were saying like it's a lot more expressive, and that's definitely one of the reasons I feel as if I shifted towards it. But do you feel the same, that it's kind of someone to live through, and it's like to give the audience and or I say audience, but the chat, really, it gives them someone to kind of relate to when they're watching you play?
I think it really just depends on the people who enjoy watching you and enjoy your stream. I think that your personality, it really doesn't it normally shines through no matter what on stream, right? They're just people who prefer to watch VTubers more than streamers and vice versa. So I guess it just really depends on the chat's preference. But me personally, because like because I love anime and I super, super love being an anime girl. So it's like I feel like my voice has gone up to so many higher decibels because of my excitement when I stream. So yeah.
Out of curiosity, you were saying that did you start streaming in 2020? Is that right? Like
Mm-hmm.
before you got
Mm-hmm.
into VTubing?
Mm-hmm.
Why did you get into streaming then? Because obviously, like, I think I know the answer. I don't think I have to be a psychic to be like that. There was something in particular in 2020 that happened,
Gee,
and I
I
feel as if
wonder why.
we might never know. Okay, that's the end of the episode. No, I'm going kidding. A lot of people got into streaming because of like lockdowns and, of course, the global pandemic. Was that the same for you then? Was it something like you've always wanted to do before that?
I think other than this thing that we shall not mention that happened in 2020
Of course.
from from worldwide event, I've always known that I wanted to stream within like as an anime. But like at that time, like I was still really testing it out, and then I saw a lot of my friends who were playing Fortnite and starting to do it. So it made me interested to just try it, and one day I just made a really bad overlay and just tried it, and then it ended up pretty fun. I had fun just getting to know people and practicing my not as good Mandarin and Japanese to strangers who may learn it with me, and the rest was history.
All I can say is like bravo to you for like putting yourself out there to actually learn these languages live on stream, because I would be terrified to do a Duolingo stream. Like I've always been tempted to do it and I've just thought, no, Satsu, don't do it. You're going to make a butt out yourself. Because every time it's like, you know, when you're practicing a language by yourself
hmm
and you sound like Mr. Worldwide, you sound like, you know, the absolute greatest polyglot in the world. And then as soon as you go on stream, you're like, I have forgotten every single word. I am mispronouncing everything, but it's a sunny day, you know?
I get what you mean, because even when you learn it in school, because I've been learning Mandarin for like 8 years,
Oh, wow.
and like so like I really practiced it and learned it in a classroom. The only time that I ever really could say I genuinely, sincerely felt like a Chinese person speaking it was when I traveled to Taiwan and we were lost. So we had to ask for directions because I could hear them speaking in a certain inflection. So I was able to copy that inflection and it just felt natural from there. So definitely it's better to learn languages in numbers. So I find it interesting how you can learn how to speak another language on stream, like using Duolingo or something else, and chat can just help you and tell you, oh no, you're pronouncing it wrong. This is how you should be saying it. So it's a really interesting new way for people to learn together, definitely, and feel more like they are learning the language properly.
And it is like really cool that it does attract other people to the stream. You know, it's people that maybe wouldn't have felt as confident, you know, to join in or anything. But the fact, like, as we said, you know, at the start of this episode, that you know that like you're talking in their language, and of course they are coming in and saying, "Oh no, it's actually this or that," and you know they're getting more involved. And I don't know, it's something that is quite, I don't want to say wholesome, but you know what I mean. It's like really nice when you actually
Say it.
make friends. Yeah,
Say
fine,
it.
it's wholesome. Fine, but you know what I mean. It is. It's like it is so cool when you get to meet people from all over the world, and you know, especially when they come back and you're like, oh my god, that's cool. They don't hate my accent. That's fine. Before you got into streaming on Twitch, because as you were saying before, you've jumped from every single platform. You've gone from Twitch to YouTube to Facebook. You've been awesome in all of them, by the way. But
Arigato.
I wish I knew how to reply to that in Japanese. I was about to say "boyongxie," but no, that's Mandarin.
yes, yes.
Yeah, see, before going into Twitch, did you know much about like streaming and Twitch? Like, did you watch a lot of streamers, or was it just like it was one of those things that kind of popped up and you're like, okay, I'm going to try that?
Yeah, I think for Suzuki, it was really just a spur of a moment thing. And I was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to be a Nike slogan and just do it.
Oh, like that.
I know that Twitch is like really geared for streaming, so it made sense to try it there. But when I finally started streaming as with my avatar, I wanted to. That was when I tried and I jumped to Facebook streaming.
What made you jump from Twitch to Facebook? Like, was there any reason, or was it just you wanted to try something different?
So because I wanted to just try to see the difference between it, and since at that time I knew that there were a lot of VTubers that were also streaming on Facebook, so I wanted to find some kindred souls who would be able to like help me and let me know if there's anything that we could do together and collab together. Since a lot of the people who were on Facebook for VTubing were mostly from Asia, right, which is where I'm from. So it made sense to me at that time to be able to create like a more Asian community, since BGE was also a group that was started by a bunch of Filipinos.
As you said, now you're on YouTube, is that right?
Yes, so I recently jumped to YouTube just for fun and to try it, and I wasn't expecting to. It's just that Pokemon Shining Pearl came out last week, and I just wanted to try and actually stream on a day of a game launch. And it was such a fun experience, counting down with people together and finally getting into the game, and everyone was there, and we were all suffering from not being able to enter the game because everyone was trying to enter the game. And it was just a pretty fun experience, and I really liked it. You know, Pokemon has such a fun community of people who just really love the game, and it just also makes me want to keep playing it more. So that's where I am right now, playing Pokemon every morning from 6 a.m. GMT plus 8 until 9 a.m. GMT plus 8.
And I've got to ask like a very serious question now, just as a side tangent. Who
Mhm.
did you pick as your starter?
My starter Pokemon, okay, because I am all about cute things and I like form over function, but I'm not denying this creature of its awesome skills, was Prinplup, Prinplup, Prinplup.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, and because right now I love Mexican food and I have decided to call all my Pokemons after food. I have decided to call him Agua Horchata. Yes, yes, yes. So that is this yummy drink with rice milk and cinnamon. I
That
think that's
sounds
all there is. But
delicious.
yes. So I named my water Pokemon Agua Horchata.
No, the only reason I'm asking is because, like, Gen 4, at least Diamond and Pearl, wasn't really a generation I was, like, really into. But I remember when I played it, like, years and years ago. Honestly, I'm aging myself so much because there's, like, there's people, like, buying this game saying, oh, this was my very first Pokemon game, this is my childhood. And, you know, meanwhile, I'm yelling at children to get off my lawn. And I'll say this, like, I started playing, like, just the other day, Brilliant Diamond. And I think my first one was Turtwig, but for the stream, we started with a Chimchar, you know, the
Mhm.
fire Pokemon.
Yeah. He wasn't that cute.
I mean, he's got a cool design. I mean, he's got a Monkey King looking design, which I have to admit I missed out on because when I first played it, I was like, oh, Chimchar's not cool and everything. And I chose Turtwig because he's awesome. He's a dinosaur, for goodness sake. Then I saw his like final evolution and I was like, oh my god, look at this guy. He's a fighting monkey that looks like the Monkey King. I'm like, this is sick. But yeah,
He does, doesn't he? With all the
he
fire
does.
around his
Yeah.
body and his pose, like a fighting monkey.
Oh, he's
Mm.
so cool. I will admit, although I don't like his other evolutions, he does have a cool final evolution. But because of that, my chat are big Simpsons fans, so we all started naming. We all started naming the Pokemon after Simpsons characters. So my main starter is called Mojo, after like the monkey that Homer adopts. Because initially it was going to be Mr. Burns, but now we've got like characters like we've got Maggie for a Starly, we've got Millhouse the Bidoof, that kind of thing. Honestly, like see playing Pokemon on stream, it is so fun.
It is. I think that it is just the joy of like finding a Pokemon in the wild, especially if it's shiny and you hear that ding ding ding. It just hits something that I guess it just finds your inner child and it just makes you keep searching and want to be the very best no one ever known.
Here's a question for you, because when I started out streaming, Pokemon Green was like the very first game that I ever streamed. I don't mean like Pokemon Leaf Green, I mean like Pokemon Green, which was like the Japanese only release. And
Ooh.
unfortunately, I got a version that I came across online, and I'm surprised that not many people talk about it because of how bad it is. It's like a poorly translated version of the game. So it's like terrible like translations on it. But it's such a laugh to get through. And the reason like I started with Pokemon, and I did play other games like Sonic and Call of Duty and things. I played games that I grew up playing with as a
Mhm.
child and
Mhm.
kind of teenager by extension. But I'm just curious, were you the same? Like, did you decide that you were going to play games that you grew up with? Or was there like another reason? Like, what was your kind of motivation for playing the games that you play?
The first game that I played was a childhood game that I really loved. So it was like Sims. So I used to collect Sims. Like I played Sims 1, Sims 2, Sims 3, Sims 4. And then eventually, because I like building stuff and I like designing stuff, making stuff pretty in homes, I eventually grew to really, really love Minecraft. And then that's how it went to Minecraft. And for a while, I would like build worlds and everything. And I got into Genshin Impact because Genshin is such a beautiful game. So I wanted to recreate Liyue and Minecraft. And then eventually being in an open world survival kind of thing. I kind of started to play Pokemon a little bit later, but I watched the movies and everything. So I watched the Mew movie, I watched the Nubia movie, I watched the series as a kid. So when I finally saw the Pokemon game and it was on the Switch and it was like a kind of like an open world game, I was like, I think this is the Pokemon game that I am finally going to try. I must get my hands on all these cute little things. I know I have simple joy, Satsu.
Like, that is something that I think like a lot of streamers seem to miss out on. You know, it's like there's a lot of streamers that obviously chase trends and everything. They're like, oh, I gotta play this game because it's coming out, or I gotta play that. But do you agree like that it's important that you have to play a game that you do enjoy on stream?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I feel like because if you're going to be playing this game day in, day out for hours at a time, I think it has to be something that you enjoy. Because when you're not happy and you're not having fun, I think your chat can see it, and the people watching you will kind of tell if you're just forcing yourself to do something. So it's always better to just play something that you can talk about, that you have fun with, and you can laugh over. And I think that's what people resonate with nowadays, especially because we're kind of all living in, because of that, which must not be mentioned in 2020.
Of course.
So it's very important to just, have fun whatever you're doing when you're streaming.
Would you say then that's why you do variety streaming, like as opposed to, like doing a single game? If you enjoy like one game and that's all you ever want to play in your life, like that is, perfectly fine. But like for you personally, is that why you do variety streaming? Because it's like it just kind of, mixes things up a bit.
Well, I think that being a variety streamer definitely makes it more interesting for the streamer and also like for the people that watch you because everything is it's like it kind of changes the game every now and then. So I think that being a variety streamer, it definitely has its pros and its cons. So like I think one of the pros for it is that you as a streamer, you never really run out of things to do and you're just able to change things up whenever you want to. And I think if your chat and your community is fine with that, then it's great also. Like at least I think at the end of the day, it really matters like that both of you and your chat vibe on the same frequency for it to work. But of course, the best thing about being a specialty streamer, which I'm actually just experiencing now because I've been streaming Pokemon every single day for 3 hours for the last week. Can you believe that? Like, even I'm amazed with myself, and I know how easily distracted I am. But the good thing about it also is because people know what to expect of you, they know what time to see you, and they can, it's like they follow something. It feels like an episodic thing. So because there's like a story behind it, somehow looks like there's a story behind it because you're doing it one after another, day in, day out. And there's a different feel to it, and there's a different kind of audience for it also. So I guess it really depends on you as a streamer and also your community. So yeah.
What would you say then, though? As we've established, you've been streaming since 2020, 2020 gang, representing here for streamers. What would you say the most important part of streaming is? As you said, it's about like vibing with your chat, it's about enjoying what you do. What things for you personally, what's important to you as a streamer?
I guess for me, what's really important at the end of the day is one, of course, that you're having fun, that they're having fun. The second thing that's important to me is also the community. You'll be surprised. And I know there are lots of people in the world. Like the things that people randomly say and chat that can actually be quite toxic and negative. So it's important to be able to create, a safe environment for people that they want to chat and talk and like feel like they can just be themselves and say what they want to, which is appropriate. And I really just think it's, having good, chill, positive vibes. That's the important thing when you're streaming with people. And if you're having fun, at the end of the day, at some point, people will start picking up on it and they'll love your personality and who you are. And then things will go the way they have to go eventually, as long as you have those faith, hope, and pixie dust. Yes!
Well, yeah,
Sugar, spice, and everything nice. Hi, 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 hi.
I was going to say I need to go to the shops tomorrow and pick that up for the next stream. It's true though. It is something you said earlier when you were talking about how your personality, like a streamer's personality kind of comes through as they're playing, like a certain game, and somebody's, personality is going to come through. I do agree. Like it is very important to create like that very positive, and welcoming environment, because that is something you do fantastically. I have to admit, whenever I go into your streams,
Mm-hmm.
I would
Oh,
definitely be
thank
worried if I
you.
I would be worried if I came into one of your streams, you're just like, hey guys, today Zuzu's going to be doing this. I'd be like, holy shit, what happened to Zuzuchi today? Oh my god. It is, like, I do agree. It's definitely something that I feel as if it is something that a lot of people do look for in a stream, but I know what you mean when you said about, people who bring in kind of, I don't want to say, like toxic views into the chat.
Say it, say it.
Never. So, do you have any favourite moments? I'm quite curious because, as you said, you've been streaming since 2020. Again, 2020 gang representing. Yeah, have you got any like favourite moments from your time streaming?
Yes, I have two favorite moments. So one was last year and one was this year. So one was when I first started streaming, one of the games that I played was Getting Over It by Bennett Body. And I don't know why I played it.
Oh, yes.
But people were trolling Zuzuchi, and because I was a young streamer, not knowing any better with life, when they told me to press Command R, Control R,
Oh, no.
and I didn't put two and two together, so I was quite far up my game, and they told me to press that. Lo and behold, I ended up back in the front. So that was one of my favorite moments because as much as I hated it, I realized that people enjoyed my suffering. So good for them.
I mean, it's a learning curve, isn't it?
And what's up with that? Like, why do people take joy in other sufferings? Hiya, hiya, dishonor on their cows. No, I'm kidding. But I guess my ultimate favorite really experience was the one that happened last week. It was like my first time to get so many views on a stream, and I really wasn't expecting it when we streamed Shining Pearl as it launched. So it was pretty cool. Like to and anticipate a game together with everyone and then to really go through it with everyone. Like, like people were typing in chat that, oh my gosh, I'm in. And I couldn't get in. I was like, what is happening? I can't believe that I am experiencing this with like a whole bunch of people around the world right now. And we're experiencing the same thing. So that was just really cool, to be able to play that game as soon as it came out with everyone else.
Oh, I mean, community is like such a big thing in streaming, isn't it? I can honestly just imagine everyone just like playing Pokemon Shining Pearl, or this is going to out myself as like an anime fan as well. But every time I try to say these, titles, Shining Pearl and Brilliant Diamond, I keep thinking of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Have you seen that show?
Oh my gosh, it sounds funny though. What is it?
It's crazy. I can't do it justice, but to kind of advertise for my own show, this is like advertise Inception here. One of my other friends, Blowfishman, I was about to call him Jojo Man there, that's terrible. Blowfishman TV and I, another awesome streamer, but him and I did like a retrospective on the series. It takes a while to explain. It's basically just like about a kind of family lineage fighting. And this, you know what, I can't do it justice because it begins with them fighting vampires, then they have spirits and things. It's absolutely bonkers. But my point to that, sorry, like the reason I brought that up was because one of the characters in the English dub, his like name was translated to like Shining Diamond. So every time like I see the game, I'm like, oh, Pokemon Shining Diamond, and I'm like, Satsu, no,
Vampires.
that's a JoJo reference. Don't. I'm like, oh god, the anime world was not kind to me since I got into JoJo's Bizarre Adventures.
Oh, Jojo, the one with the guy with the blonde hair and
That's the one. One of them's
yeah.
blonde. Yeah. Yeah, that's the one. You'll
Ah,
have seen the memes. If you haven't seen the show, you've probably seen the memes. Yeah.
I have. I mean, I watched like an episode, but I'm not gonna lie. Like, I wasn't able. Like, I didn't properly watch it. Like, it was just there. So I think now that I have spoken to Satsu, I know what my homework is. I am going to watch some JoJo later on.
I have to admit, this is terrible to say, but it is like the perfect like pandemic show because I watched it last year during the lockdown because one of my friends kept telling me, "Oh, you need to watch JoJo for like ages. You need to watch it. You need to watch it." And I was like, "Yeah, I'll watch it." I'm terrible, by the way. Can I just say I am horrific when it comes to actually watching a show that people recommend. Not out of badness. I just genuinely, I'm just lazy. Of course, I had nothing better to do last year, so I was like, okay, I'll finally watch it. And I agree, like the first like season is a slow burner. And normally I wouldn't recommend people, like watch hundreds of episodes just for it to get good. But that is kind of the danger of anime, isn't it? Like you have to watch a lot of episodes for it to get good usually. At least for some of them.
I think it's not for the faint of heart, like some of the animes. Like, I mean, for like Naruto, because I mean the only reason why I was able to properly follow it was like I read the manga as it would come out, the chapters, or like I would watch all the. I didn't really watch all the anime because of all the fillers, but then you have like anime like one Piece, which is like at 1,000 plus shows. And like for a person who has never seen it, but like sees the hype around it and like how iconic it is, and you want to watch it, I think the fear of having to go through all 1,000 plus episodes to get to where your friends are is kind of intimidating, don't you
Oh,
think?
totally. I mean, one of my friends is like a huge One Piece fan, but as you said, like he's been watching it since childhood. And I myself, like I grew up watching Dragon Ball Z, so I love Dragon Ball Z. I honestly can't imagine many people going back to the very beginning of Dragon Ball Z and sitting through, because Dragon Ball Z has like, what, 200 odd episodes, and then there's like 100 and something episodes for the abridged version. It's just a mess. Those are the kind of like long series that you think, yeah, maybe not worth it unless you've got a friend or something to help
Oh
you
my
through it.
gosh, Satsu. Then I guess I don't know what is wrong with me, but
Mhm. Oh, have you
I
started it?
am actually watching Dragon Ball Z right now
Amazing.
because one of my friends is like, you know what? Let's just watch it. But how this was introduced to me was basically okay because I have this thing, and it's something that I do all the time. Like there has to be something that hooks me to an anime, right? Normally, when it doesn't look that nice, the animation, I'm not gonna watch it. So like in the beginning when I would watch Dragon Ball Z as a kid, I'd be like, I don't like how this person looks funny with his inverted eyebrows.
Yeah.
But then I was like, you know what? Benefit of doubt, benefit of doubt.
Mhm.
So we started with the Dragon Ball, with the Broly movie,
Oh,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And the animation was so pretty,
Mhm.
and the Kamehameha wave and the Super Saiyan mode, it was just super cool. So I watched it. I was like, I think I can actually learn to love this show. and then but then my friend was like, you know what, we should watch Dragon Ball Z first instead of Dragon Ball. And I was like, but aren't I gonna miss out on something? He's like, no, 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 I think we should watch Dragon Ball Z first. I'm like, okay, you know what, trust the person who has seen everything. You know, they know the show better than you. You know what, trust the process, trust the process. So so I watched Dragon Ball Z, and like the first 10 episodes, right? I wasn't sure yet if I loved it. Like like at first I would like watch it because of course like you want to catch up with your friends, right? And
Yeah,
you want
yeah.
to be able to like talk to them about it. And then I finally found that emotional connection that made me love Dragon Ball Z. And it was the episode when I think it was episode 8, right? Episode 8 or 9. And no, I'm kidding. I think it was episode 12. And Gohan was like stuck in this underground, in this ruins in the cave. So he was training with Piccolo and everything, and Goku's still dead. And training and trying to run the snake path going to Kaio-sama. And then so there's this robot, and the robot was like just chilling there, and he was like, "Leave me alone, child." And Gohan was like, "Okay, are you sure?" But the whole cave is crumbling. And then right when the cave was going to flatten everything, Gohan thinks, "Oh no, but I left the robot on. I should turn him off." And I was like, "Oh, that compassion! This is like such a cute way that a child thinks." And I was like, "Oh, Gohan, you're so kawaii. I emotionally resonate with you now."
Oh, yeah, Gohan's great. Yeah.
Yeah, and then ever since then, I started to really try. Like, I like Dragon Ball Z, but I mean, I do confess, I like Gohan, I like Vegeta, and I even like Piccolo much more than Goku. But I guess that's because I didn't watch Dragon Ball. I didn't watch Goku's childhood.
Well, confession time here. I actually never watched the original Dragon Ball growing up. Yeah, no, legit. Like, I know of it and I know, like, the kind of story beats because, I'm a massive nerd. Like, I actually went back and saw kind of reviews and things that people have talked about. But
Uh huh.
like Dragon Ball is one of those things. It's like it's similar, or not similar, but it's related to like Journey to the West. The Monkey King and everything. Because Goku is like
Mm.
based off of the Monkey King story. There's a lot less monks in it. This is the thing I find funny about it. They kept the Monkey King, like Goku. They kept the pervert shape shifting pig. I don't think he's not in Dragon Ball as much, but trust me, you'll know him when you see him. Like they kept him. They
Uh
didn't keep the monk, which I kind of thought, huh. Okay. So the only real like similarity is one's a shape shifting pig and the other one's like a monkey man. And it's like that's it. That's it, yeah. Other than that, not much difference. I do agree with your friend. Dragon Ball,
huh.
from what I've seen, is more like a adventure fantasy story. It's like they're collecting the Dragon Balls and they're running away from like this army that are trying to take over
Mm.
the world and things. When it gets to Dragon Ball Z, without spoiling it too much, it gets insane. And then by the time you get to Dragon Ball Super, it gets
Mm.
even worse. It gets like wackier. And then they introduce things like gods and, with the Broly movie as well, like they're practically jumping through dimensions and like destroying the world. And
They
you're like,
become super OP.
oh yeah, and you're like, wow, this is I was saying that to one of my friends. Like one of my friends and I, in university, we watched Hunter x Hunter, which we
Mm-hmm.
do call
Oh.
Hunter x
Mm.
Hunter. Have you seen it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's so good.
The remake
Yeah, the
or
2011 one, I think it is. Yeah.
mm-hmm.
I absolutely love that show purely because of and this is so sad, but the way they do like the action and the power scaling compared to something like Dragon Ball.
Mm-hmm.
So, like with Dragon Ball, you're going to get someone who can click their fingers or slap a butt cheek, and all of a sudden half the earth explodes, and you're like, huh, okay, interesting. But with Hunter x Hunter, it's like, the balance thing. Same with Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood as well.
No,
That's such a good one.
trauma. I'm so
I
traumatized.
cried buckets at that show. I'm going to be honest. It's like, were you the same? Please tell me you were the same.
Oh my gosh, Tatsu. I cannot believe it. I am saying it, but I got traumatized again last night
Uh huh.
because of something I saw that had to do with Dragon Ball Z and Full Metal Alchemist. So
Oh, was it the fusion?
Yeah, that one. Oh
Uh-huh.
my gosh, Satsu! It scarred my soul all over again. I was like, that is so mean.
I have seen that meme. I immediately knew what you were talking about. I was like, "Oh, no." Fun fact about that episode, the same friend that I watched Hunter x Hunter with, I also watched well, he watched Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood before me, and I have to admit, like, the first time I watched it, I had a difficult time getting into the show,
Uh
because, like, the
huh.
first few episodes, I was kinda like, "Oh, I don't know if I like this," and as soon as you get past those first few episodes, it's
Mhm.
amazing, 10 out of 10. Like, if anybody's listening to this, please go watch it. It's fantastic, it's on Netflix, go, go, go. But the thing I found quite funny was I remember I got to that episode and I came to him and I was like, This episode is so bad. You know, it's so sad." And he turned around and went, "What episode?" And I went, "You know, the one with the dog." And he went, "Oh, I skipped that episode." I went, "You what?" And he went, "Yeah, I got bored and I just skipped that episode." I'm like, "You skipped
What?
that episode?" "Yeah." And I
How
was like,
could he? Dishonor.
exactly. Yeah, you know who you are. The person he will be listening to this episode, so you know who you are. How could you? Without spoiling like the person who dies, like there's a lot of death in this show, but that is fantastic. But there's a certain funeral scene that just gets me every time. Like, see if I need a good cry, just watch that. It is, you know the one I mean, don't you?
If you want to cry buckets and buckets and buckets and have your heart broken and squished, that is the series to watch.
Oh, absolutely. It's fantastic, though. It's not like a series that, well, for the most part, you're not going to be as depressed. Oh, it's such a good series, though. I don't actually think, does Full Metal Alchemist have a game? Unless it's like some really obscure Full Metal Alchemist, like PlayStation 2 game that we don't know about, but
Google is my friend, so I typed it in for you.
thank you.
And you were right. So there's Full Metal Alchemist and the Broken Angel, PlayStation 2.
Ah, okay.
There's Full Metal Alchemist Dual Sympathy on DS and Brotherhood on PS. Hi, 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 hi.
Ah, thank you.
You're
much,
welcome.
much appreciated.
Dotai shimashite.
Who needs Google when you've got friends like Zuzuchi? It's such a good show, though.
Have you seen Rurouni Kenshin Samurai X?
I don't think I have actually. I'm gonna look that up in the background.
Basically, it's an anime about this guy, Kenshin, who was, how do I explain this? Who was a samurai of the government, and they were basically trying to create a new Japan, right? And, the reason why I bring this up is since we're talking about remakes, right? Brotherhood is a remake, and they didn't remake it, but they actually made it into a live action movie, Rurouni Kenshin. It was, I think, produced by Warner Brothers, and then recently during the pandemic, they also released it on Netflix produced the last two movies in the series, and I find it amazing because you don't really see many Japanese movies that are given like such a good quality, and like how it was made and how they reproduce it, and they really made the live action so similar. And like, if you didn't watch the anime, I would recommend that you watch that and you would probably love it.
I just had a look there. I do recognize the character. It's like Bleach, you know, that way where it's like, oh, I recognize the people from it, but no, I don't think I've ever seen it. That is actually quite rare though. Like when you were talking about like live adaptations of anime, because yeah, it's not a very well regarded medium, let's just say. Thinking off the top of my head, there's the Attack on Titan one, there's Death Note.
Mm,
Oh, there's so many. There's a JoJo one as well, technically, but from what I saw of that, it didn't look as bad as something like, say, Attack on Titan or,
mm,
oh god, or Dragon Ball. The less said about that one, the better. Full Metal Alchemist actually had a live action adaptation. And
scary.
yeah,
I, I'm
I
afraid.
never saw it. I never saw it, so I can't vouch for it, but I have heard it's yes, it's not very good.
And I've been recently rewatching Death Note, right? And I know that they use a Hollywood actor to recreate it. And I don't know, I'm kind of scared to watch it because, Death Note was made so beautifully. Like all of the smirks and the red light and the blue light and the black and light when they're all thinking, and like when Light and L are like internalizing. Like there's such drama to it in the anime. Like I don't know how they would ever be able to bring justice to it in live action. Like I don't know.
I think the spoiler is they didn't.
Huh?
Like, I don't think the live adaptation was like received. In fact, there's two live adaptations.
Oh.
There's a Japanese one,
Uh-huh.
I'm sure. I don't think that was received well. They split it up into two parts. The second one was the Netflix adaptation, which nobody liked. I don't think I've ever seen someone say, "Do you want to watch Death Note?" Yeah,
Uh-huh.
man, let's load up Netflix and watch a live adaptation. Nobody saw that.
It's kind of cool how Netflix now has so many good animes that you
It's
can watch.
surprising,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Because I mean, I've honestly seen a load of anime pop up recently. Well, that and K dramas. Are you a fan of K dramas?
Yes. Do you know Suzuchi went to Korea just
Oh, of course.
to look at all of the places where some K dramas were shot?
Oh, yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
remember? And then I also stalked one of the actors. He.
Oh, of course.
Yes, yes, yes.
I must have been talking to you about this before then, because again, like, there was a past episode that my friend and I did on Squid Game, which of course has blown up, in popularity. Like, everybody's talking about it.
What are you watching?
K-drama wise just now, I haven't got anything lined up. I know there's one called Hellbound that's out recently.
Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
That seems to be quite interesting. What was the other one? There's My Name as well. I've heard that's meant to be quite good. Where it's just like a woman who's fighting to find her father's killer and all that. Tale as old as time. There's one that I actually need to finish, and
Mm-hmm.
my K-drama watching friend will kill me for this, but there was one about it was like Heaven's Moving Company or something like that. It
Mm-hmm.
was about like an autistic boy that goes into people's homes who have just died, and he like clears out the house and everything, and that was alright. It
Mm.
wasn't the best, but I remember when my friend and I were like talking about, oh, how to put this, like when we were talking about Squid Game, and I was like, yeah, I don't really watch many K-dramas, I've only seen, this, that, My Love from the Stars.
Oh my gosh, I've seen that too.
Oh, so good.
It was so cute, right?
Oh, yeah. Because weirdly enough, for once, like, this isn't one of the K dramas I watched. It was actually my partner that said, "Oh, you should watch this." And I was like, "Oh, okay, it might be cute." And honestly, I did really enjoy it. It's a guilty pleasure, K dramas, but my god, they're so long. Because the one I watched recently, like the kind of long drama that I watched recently, was Descendants of the Sun. Have you seen that one?
Ah, unfortunately, that's one of the ones that I never started because it felt slow for me when I first tried watching it.
Yeah.
But I watched everything. I watched Goblin.
I have not seen that yet, but everybody seems to rave about that.
It's
Oh,
really
it's
good. Like I think, well, I like it because of the history of it. Like there's a supernatural, like a superstition history behind it, right? So like that's what makes it more interesting. Descendants of the Sun. What is it about? Like I don't
it's
know
like
what it's about. Yeah.
it's like a special ops army man who loves Subway, and he meets like a doctor who is also into Subway, and they get into a relationship because they both love Subway. You might be wondering why I'm mentioning Subway a lot, because it's one of the funniest like things of product placement I have ever seen in my life. It's like
Oh.
there's I kid you not, there's legitimately a scene.
Subway? Like the sandwich Subway?
Oh, yeah, like the sandwich shop. Yeah, like legitimately, there's a scene where they're both in Korea. Basically, the whole plot is it's like this army guy gets sent to, he falls in love with this doctor, and, they've both got completely different lives, and they end up meeting again in this, like, fake foreign country, which I've heard was filmed in Greece. So I thought, oh, that's cool. But you know, it's like the Korean Special Forces for some reason are like, you know, doing like a peace mission over in this country. I don't know why,
Ah.
but and you know, there's all the drama that his former colleague or something like that
Uh-huh.
who he thought was dead is alive and smuggling drugs or
What?
weapons. I don't know. It's so stupid. It's like your typical K drama, but it's entertaining as hell. But there's literally a scene halfway through the series where they go for lunch, like the two love interests. And I kid you not, they're sitting there, and right behind them are all these banners that are like Subway, Subway. And they're having like this really serious conversation, and all you can see is just Subway,
Subway?
get a meatball, get a meatball sub. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. And I've seen Meteor Garden, which is, oh god, have you seen that?
The Chinese one? Oh, baby, baby, baby.
Oh, just that is the worst example of because I was saying this to my partner as well. This is the worst example of product placement. I kid you not, there's like a scene where they're talking, like the two love interests are talking,
Mhm.
and the guy's like, "Oh, I can buy you everything. Why are you selling your clothes online?" And she pulls up like this Chinese version of like eBay, and she's like, "I'm doing it because it's good for society." And he like nods and goes, "Yes, I agree. It's good for society." And then they just keep talking, and you're like, "What? What just happened?" And then there's another one where it's like a character berates her bodyguard
Mhm.
for like having dandruff.
Huh?
And I shit you not, she uses the force, like she uses her telekinetic powers to bring like this anti-dandruff shampoo out of nowhere to give to him. And I'm like, okay, this is too much, even for me. I like weird stuff, you know, like Twin Peaks. Like I love Twin Peaks. I love things like that. That is just too. That's like beyond for me. I was just like, yeah, no. And unfortunately, I did watch the whole thing because I thought I got to see how this ends. There's no way. And yeah, it does not end the way you think it ends. That's all I'm saying.
No, I find it so funny how like sometimes like you can just tell because like the camera angle and the zoom in, it like stays there for like 5, 10 seconds, and you're like ad. And of course, like in my head, I'm like, I wonder how much these people paid to. So like one of my friends, it's so funny whenever we watch anything, right? I'm always like, hey, product placement. Hey, product placement. Hey, I wonder if they're sponsored.
Whenever I'm watching a show with a friend and, you know, they're holding like a Pepsi or a Coke or something, I always smack my lips and I go, I don't know about you, man, but I feel thirsty right now for a good old Coke. And it's like,
A good old Coca Cola. This conversation is not sponsored by Coca Cola.
yeah. But if anybody out there is listening from Coca-Cola and or Pepsi, you know, give me a call. You know how to reach me. I'm happy to sell my soul just just to advertise, so please. Oh, honestly, that's all Netflix is for me nowadays because I try to use it for, you know, language learning as well.
Mhm.
But oh my god, yeah, just nothing but K dramas and K dramas, anime, and recently La Casa de Papel or Money Heist.
Ah, sí, sí, bueno, bueno.
It is fantastic. Genuinely, I would recommend it to anyone who has it. Well, I would recommend the first two seasons to people who haven't seen it. The rest is kind of like, you know, like the first two seasons, they kind of tied it together and it's
Mhm.
like a nice contained story. And then after that, you're just like, what are you doing, guys?
No, I think the last season that came out. Okay, so it's spoiler, but I will try not to spoil it. So the last season that came out, it was so funny because like you just knew that someone, like you can tell. For me, I don't know if you can tell, but what we noticed is like every time someone is given a backstory or like or so much screen time, you just know that they're gonna get killed. Dan 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 dan. So it's like the last season when we were watching it, you're just like, okay, when is this gonna happen?
You're
When?
checking your watch like any time now. Any time.
It's like, what? How is this person still alive? I thought.
I genuinely, I would not be surprised if that character was still alive. Like, honest to God, some of the stupid stuff that they've pulled off in that series, like, I was with them until, see the season before this one?
Uh Uh-huh.
where they literally have a guy who acts like the Terminator. He goes around like throwing grenades and,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
shooting
yeah, yeah,
people with
yeah.
pinpoint accuracy. It's just comical at
I
that
think that was
point.
the last season, right? That was the last one.
It was season 4. Well,
Yeah,
he,
this
he
the
was in that one as
special.
well.
That was the special forces thingy, right?
Yeah, and you were just like, come on. In some moments, it did feel like I was watching a K drama because I was like, really? I was just, like, genuinely, I was like, did I put on something else again? I was like, no, it's definitely Money Heist. I'm like, this is because some of the stuff they brought in where it's like, oh, do you remember that time where so and so promised to do this for them? Oh no, but they can't now because they're dead. And you're like, this was never said. In season 1 and 2. It honestly feels as if they just added it for the sake of drama. And you think, I get it, I get adding things for drama, but it just seemed as if, yeah, they were keeping it on thick in that one. They were definitely keeping it on thick, and you were like, yeah, not great.
Hiya, hiya, dishonor on them.
Exactly. Huge dishonor.
What else is coming out that is good?
Oh, there's quite a few things. I say that and I don't remember. There's definitely something. There'll be something coming out, I'm
Something
sure.
coming out, but we don't know what. But we know it's gonna be good.
Well, that's Netflix's strategy, isn't it? It's like, we've got something, it's coming out soon. We don't know what it is, but it's going to be something good. Just as like a wrapping up point before we set the world right with our opinions on K-drama. Don't worry, that's next week's episode. Don't worry. So, just going back to like streaming, just before we wrap up, is there anything like you would say to upcoming streamers who are either thinking of getting into, either VTubing or just streaming in general? Because as we said before, and this isn't me just being nice for the sake of it, but you are genuinely like a very positive person. You do show that in your streams. So is there any words of wisdom?
Oh, thank you for thinking that.
No, genuinely, it's the truth.
Okay, well, I don't know like how legit this is gonna sound coming from me since really we're just all starting. Like, I mean, it feels long, but like I know it's just the beginning. But I guess based on my experience so far, what I think I would let other streamers know is to really sometimes you just gotta do it. And I'm not trying to copyright Nike here,
Yeah.
but you really just gotta start. And when you start, you just have to, set a schedule that you're comfortable with for yourself and be committed to that schedule. Because, like, sometimes it gets hard because you don't know people are watching um, or if anybody even hears you. But, when you start doing it every day, like, there will be people who will find you. And, a person is a person no matter how singular
Yeah.
their number is.
Well, true. True.
And I guess I think the reason why really streaming is booming a lot right now is really the circumstance that we all find ourselves in. So I think that there's a lot of value of just having even one or two person on your stream. And if there is one or two people there, just have a conversation with them because you never really know what they're going through. And it's your chance to also just, have a little fun, let them have fun because I mean, for me, streaming was like an avenue to like kind of get away, take a break. And I'm sure it is also for them. So let's all spread some happiness to everyone. But yes, just keep it up. Just be dedicated and have a schedule and play a game that you love and that you're having fun with because at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
Zuzuchi, thank you so much for coming on this episode. It was a blast.
And thank you so much for having me today. Satsu arigato gozaimasu.
No problem at all. No problem at all. Before we wrap up, where can these awesome listeners at home actually find your content?
If you have some time and you just want to watch someone fail epically in her misadventures at Pokemon, please go to YouTube and type Suzuchi. That's where you'll find me every morning at 6 a.m. GMT plus 8. Yes, if I wake up on time.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
No, I know the feeling.
Sometimes I'm an hour late, but yes, normally I try. That's what I aspire to do. It's my goal to be on time.
Oh yeah, I remember the last like morning stream I did, and I woke up and I was like, "Oh God, I've slept in." I hadn't, but I thought I was. I have no faith in myself. I have 3 alarms, I think, set up in my room, each at different points. So I'm like, "Yeah, there is no way I am not waking up." Doesn't always work, but you know what? It's worth a shot. That's all I'm saying. Spreading that alarm positivity.
Oh, Wait, so what kind of person are you? Are you the 5 minutes, every 5 minutes, every 30 minutes, or are you 5 minutes snooze or 30 minutes wake up?
So I like to live life on the edge. I'm usually the 15 minutes, so like 8 and then 8:15, 8:30, 8:45, etc. But if it gets later on in the day,
Mm-hmm.
the gaps in between the times become
Uh-huh.
less and less. So it's like 9, 9:05, 9:10, 9:15, 9:20. And I'm like, yeah, I've got to get up by then. Otherwise, I'm not getting up. I'm just like,
Mm.
yeah, 5 more minutes, blam. But that's why, like, I've got like, I mean, I've got an old phone set up just as an alarm. You know, I've got one of those like smart devices that yells at me to get up. So all my neighbors hear is me like yelling at this machine to stop. I'm like, stop the alarm. It's as if it hears me. But there's a kind of stereotype in Scotland where a lot of people say that these kind of machines don't understand Scottish accents.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. They really don't understand Scottish accents. So I'm yelling at this thing saying, come on, stop the alarm. And it still keeps going. And you're like, oh,
And they're fumbling with the phone. They're like, what's happening?
but yeah, thank you so much again for coming on this episode. And yeah, good luck in your Pokemon run. Hope
Thank
it goes
you.
well.
Arigato. I hope I catch them all. Hee hee hee.
Oh, you will. Oh, I have faith. You'll get.
I don't, but I hope.
And without any further ado, thank you all so much for listening to this episode. Seriously, go check out Zuzuchi. She's honestly you're an amazing like
Oh,
VTuber, streamer in
wow,
general.
arigato.
So yeah, go check her out. And as always, guys, thank you all so much for joining. Stay safe, stay awesome, and most importantly, stay hydrated.